What's going on, guys? Basscop here, and we're on to yet another project with the Blazer. Today I'm going to start with the door panels. If you guys followed last year's build, everybody knows my little downfall with the doors that's on there now. So we're going to start a whole new series, brand new door panels from scratch. So check it out. Alright, here's what we got to work with. Don't pay attention to the shitty lighting in here. It's really overcast this evening. But I got some brand new panels. Well, not brand new, but new to me. They came out of a wrecked truck at junkyard. These panels are actually immaculate. Besides this mud and a little bit of dust on them, I don't think there is a scratch on these stains. So they will make a good template for me to work off of. I've kicked around a few ideas how I'm going to do this. Definitely ain't going to do it like I did last year. No doubt about that. If you remember last year, I did the reins. 3 across the bottom and 1 up here. And then I did my tweeters up here. Not doing that this year. I think I'm going to go for more of the flat look just across the door. I think they look more appealing and more clean to me. I think I'm going to do a flat panel. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to follow the line right here. I'm not going to fiberglass all this like I did last year. That was horrendous, especially for an amateur like me. So, like I said, I think I'm going to follow this line this year. Come down to about here, all the way across. So we're going to have to cut all this out. And basically, basically just make one big hole in the door here. And then what I think I'm going to do is, like I said, going to go flat. Maybe have the edges raised up so I can put an insert in it or something like that. I don't know yet. But I think that's how I'm going to start it. So I'm going to get hacking on these doors. Alright, I think I got a general idea of how I'm going to notch this door out. I've been out here for a while. If it's hard to see, I apologize. Yeah, that might make it worse. I don't feel like hooking up a bunch of lights. I'm not going to be out here working much longer than I need. But anyways, like I said, the general idea I have here, everything on the outside edge of the blue tape is where I'm going to cut the door. Like I said, I'm going to follow this line up at the top here that follows the armrest on up into the underneath the switches there. So that's the general idea. We'll notch that out, and then what I will do is I will cut me a piece of wood that will fit into that area approximately. And then what I'll do from that point is once I get it to where I want it depth wise, which is not going to be as deep as last year, I can tell you that. What I'll do is I'll get that in there and I'll start resining in that wood insert that I'm going to put in there, and I'll back it up on a bat with some chop mat, resin it, and get that thing nice and solid. And then what I'll do on the front is I'll stretch some fleece around there and we'll mold that in. But that's the start. Like I said, I'm running out of daylight now. Light helped a little bit. But that's the start. Got some other things to do first thing tomorrow morning, but once I get that stuff done, I'll get this this other panel here. I'll get it laid out as well, and I'll get it notched out. And then it ain't going to take me probably as much wood as I thought it was going to take. But we'll start from there. So we'll call it a night for this, and then we'll pick this back up tomorrow, and I'll show you how I start cutting all this out. All right, so here's where we're at now. When I left off, I know I said it'd be back the other day, but I think that was a while ago because I've been in training and on vacation. So I hasn't been just a couple days since I worked on these, but this is where I'm at now. As you can see, I've got a lot of this cut out. Keeping a lot of this bottom for the reason that it could snap back on the door. And as you can see there, I had to change my plan cut a little bit to account for the snaps, whatever you call them, that pops back in the door. Which ain't going to hurt me. It's actually going to keep a little rigidity to the door. As you can see, this one here, I left it on here so it could snap back in. But as you can see, I got all this crap cut out. This thing sticks out a good 6 inches. On the door, and that's where it's at now. So I could build off of that. And I'm not sure what I'm going to do up here just yet. I don't know how I'm going to cut that out, if I'm going to cut it out. But this is just a scrap piece of wood I got here. And as you can see, I could lay it. And that's not going to take up too much. But what I want to do is I want to get it all about here. Maybe just a little lower. I'm not just sure yet. But that'll give you an idea of how thick I can go. After last year's mess of my panels hitting the doors. So that's where I'm at here. I got that, like I said, I got that one cut out. Somewhat, anyway. Still got a little bit of work to do till I finally figure out exactly how I'm going to do it. But like I said, it's a far cry from what that door looked like. Okay, let's fast forward a little bit. It's been a few days since I got to work on the doors because I was out of wood. So I got some wood, and I know a lot of you are going to say, what are you using plywood for? Well, this is cabinet grade plywood. I decided to go with that. They had MDF, which is actually $20 cheaper than it has been down at Lowe's. It was $29.99 or $29.95, something like that. But I decided to go with the plywood because I'm concerned about the weight. MDF is heavy, as a lot of you know. So once I cut it down, I think the MDF is still just to be a little too heavy for these doors. So I decided to go with plywood, and I think I'll make it work. But here's where I'm at. I've cut some more out. As you can see, getting off little melted stuff here where I cut it. But I've got it cut here now, like so. Now I got my wood that I'm going to insert in there. Now these are just sitting here. I'm just using them as a guide. Know how big I need to go. But I've started getting it cut out now. I'm going to start with this door. Now once I get this piece of wood maneuvered, everything cut and trimmed and exactly how I need it, what I'll do is I'll just flip it and I'll trace it on this other wood here, and I'll have the exact pattern for the opposite door. That way I don't have to spend all this time getting everything just right and all the curves and everything. So the first door is going to be the hardest and the longest, and then once I get this one, like I said, just flip it, trace it, and knock it out. But I don't know how much more I'm going to be able to get done today because it's starting to sprinkle on me, and I got no room to set this whole thing up inside the garage here, not with all the Audiopipe product that I got, and bicycles, dirt bikes, four-wheelers, all that good stuff. So try and knock out as much as I can here, but that's where I'm at with this. I've got this ready to go for the third alternator. I got the AC deleted. The only thing I need to do is take the pump off, but I'm going to wait to do that until I have the alternator in hand, so I know what size belt it is, because I don't want to take this off and be waiting on the alternator and have to move it for whatever reason, flood, mowing, something, whatever. So I'm going to leave that on until I actually get the alternator in. That's where we're at. I'm going to plug away a little bit more, try to beat some of this rain, see how much more I can get done. I'll check back in. All right, and today comes the next day. I'm out here tinkering around with this, trying to kind of get a general idea of how I'm going to get this to fit. I'm not going to use these reins like I said previously. I'm just kind of using them as a template to see how I'm going to fit this, and it's kind of going to be basically the same as last year as far as the way they're laid out. I'm using these reins because they're basically spit and image size, just a hair bigger, I think, than the actual mid. So I'm toying with this here. Like I said, this first panel is going to take a little longer because I got all the trimming and trial and error of fitness. But like I said, once I get this one down to where I'm happy with it, I can just make an exact copy of it. And the second door should go much quicker as far as that goes. But this is where I'm at here. So I'll check back with you once I do a little more trimming and figuring and see where it's at then. All right, as you can see, I got this edge trimmed. I might have to do a little bit of extra trimming on it, but I pretty much got it exactly. And as you can see, I'm trying to fit it in this corner over here, so I have a little bit of depth but yet a little bit of height, if you guys know what I mean. So now we're going to work on the door handle cutout here, and as you can see, I'm leaving it because I just think that'd be a lot of work getting it just right. And last year when I did it and I wrapped the doors and I put it in there, that was a nightmare, absolute nightmare, to try and sand, and it never looked right, and I don't feel like screwing with that again. I'm not as good as some of you guys at fiberglassing and all that yet, and I certainly don't have the fancy pneumatic tools and stuff that I would like to have. So what I'm doing here for cutting this out is I got my cardboard template that I cut out, and as you can see, it is almost an exact replica of it. So what we're going to do is we're going to stick it here on the board, because if you remember what I've said before, when building and trying to find your corners and your edges and your curves and stuff, cardboard is your friend. Because if you screw up, you can get another piece of cardboard and try it again, versus trying to draw it out or however you do it and then get in there and cut it, and then you make the cut wrong, you have to trim more, or you cut too big and then you've absolutely wasted a piece of wood. So I'm going to hit this and we'll see how it starts fitting in, and then we're going to come back over here and figure out how I'm going to get this. I got a line here now, but I'm not sure exactly if that's what I want to do just yet, so that's why I haven't cut it. I want to get it fitting flush with all this first, and then we'll go from there. Okay, as you can see, I got it sitting on here again. I got that cut out. I'm a little bit off, but I don't think that's going to be that big a deal, because once I get it fleeced and wrapped, I think I'll be able to deal with it. So as long as I got the general shape that I can get the board up in there, I think I got a little bit, I am off just a little bit up here now that I see. So I'm going to trim just a hair off of this. Of course, I might not have it lined up exactly either, how I had it before. Now it's moving around on me too much, but you get the general idea. So that's what I'm trying to achieve, because basically when I want this surface flush with this top corner. So when I fiberglass it, this top corner or edge or whatever, I want it to come straight down. That's the look I'm trying to achieve anyway. Just basically a flat door panel with enough depth to mount those 8s. So I'm going to trim this a little bit, and then we're going to start focusing on this edge here and see what I figure out with it. All right, so I think I got the general layout here. Of course, I ain't got my reins on there now. Don't look at these chunks of wood. I'm just using that to kind of block it up to get an idea of my depth, which I think is going to be pretty good. I got the, I'm not trying to make sure it's level or anything like that. I just wanted to get this on a flat surface to make sure that I have this, like I said, I wanted to go flush to here, if you know what I mean. So I'm just trying to get it here. So I'm not sure if that's exactly the height I'm going to go. But I measured my old doors at the bottom, and at the very peak where it hits the seat, it protrudes 6 inches. And as you can see here, I've knocked it way down on this one so far. I'm looking at right about 3.5 inches. So the old doors just barely hit the seats. They hit them a little bit. I'll take it around here and show you. As you can see, when I did these ones, way too much depth there. And then you could see where they hit the seat a little bit. So it's got that cushion pushed in a little bit. But like I said, these stick out at the very bottommost. If you look down here, and you can see where it's rubbed as well. A little bit of rubbage there too. But 6 inches from the bottom of the door to the very edge of the bottom of the speakers. So I think 3.5 or 3 3/4 here. On this one, it's going to work out a lot better, and I think I will have all the clearance that I need. So I'm going to tweak this a little more. Not a whole lot, really. That's just getting my depth now. And once I get it to where I'm satisfied with this, I'll cut another piece of wood out, slap this down on there, trace it out, and I got my other side. And like I said, I need to cut some blocks or whatever I'm going to use to space this out, and I'm going to glue them in, maybe shoot a couple screws to it. That way it's good and solid. And then once the glue dries and I know that ain't going to move on there, what I would do is I will flip this panel over on a warmer day, and then I will start hitting the backside with chop mat, and I will fiberglass it in from the back side to make sure it's good and strong. And then once that's set up, I will try to figure out how I'm going to stretch some fleece over this and fiberglass this up a little bit, and we'll see how it goes. So I've also got to thinking, worst case scenario, I can use these reins if I don't have enough depth for those mids, just in case I am off a little bit and they would hit the door. Worst case scenario, I can use these. I can mount those somehow, make it look somewhat decent, and that'll give me, I think these are, not sure what these are. Yeah, these are 3/4 as well. So worst case scenario, I can use those to give myself 3/4 of an inch more, and I would figure out something to make it look good. Anything's better than the doors that's in there now. So that's where we're at. Hopefully my music ain't playing loud enough that this picks up and it flags me with a copyright. All right, now that we got to this point, I think we'll call this a wrap on part 1 of the doors. So where we're at, we got both door panels cut out. I still got just a little bit more trimming to do. This angle piece on this other door, but that won't take but 10 minutes to do. And then, like I said, once I tweak this just a little bit more, it's copy and paste basically. So we'll wrap that up for, like I said, part 1, episode 1, whatever you want to call it. So I invite you to come back for part 2. If it's not raining tomorrow, it's supposed to, but hopefully it'll change. But I'll start filming for part 2 tomorrow. I invite you to watch. Maybe you'll learn something. I'm learning something different every time I do these. I watch some of you other guys that does some of these, and I've gotten some ideas. That's how I'm working on these doors this time. So stick around, come back, watch the other ones, watch my other videos. If you're not subscribed, I invite you to subscribe. I got a lot of videos on there. I'm close to 100, all kinds of videos, build videos, demo videos, demos of other people's vehicles, all kinds of stuff. So I invite you to hit that like, subscribe button, and hit the bell notification. Also follow me on Facebook and Instagram. My links are in the description here of the video. So until next time, guys, Bass on.